Okay, so for this first objective, or the first example, we're going to take these 6 rectangles and turn them into a shape. Now, my advice on the strategy is to make this side over here the front of your box. That's the way I usually do it. I like to have a front that's smaller. Also, if it's not a rectangle, that usually makes a nice front because I find it easier to draw things going backwards that way than trying to stack them. And you'll see that when we do our first triangular prism. You'll see how that works. So I'm over here on my isometric paper. I'm going to draw just a happy little rectangle. Oops. Yeah, I would go ahead and do it on the graph paper, unless you feel comfortable drawing in 3D freehand. Yeah, not everybody does, so the isometric paper is meant to help with that process. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw that front rectangle right there. So there's my front rectangle. That would be the front that we just labeled onto my box. Now when I fold this up, I'm going to think of this piece right here. They don't line up top and bottom. They're all offset. So what you'll see is you can see lines that go vertically, lines that kind of go horizontally if they're spread out. No, horizontally, vertically really spread out, and then on diagonals. I'm going to think about this as my bottom. And so this will be one of my sides. So I'm going to go along this diagonal right here. Oops, I missed. Let's try that again. I'm going to go along this diagonal right here. And I'll do that again right above it. So I'm going to draw a parallelogram. There we go. And that creates one side of the box. And then I can go across the very top of that. So I'll draw across the top. It's a nice horizontal line, and I can connect that over here. So that would be this net folded up into that rectangular space. The bottom is still kind of hidden from view. The front, the rectangle that's labeled front, is still in the front. The red rectangle, from the way I've kind of put this together, is actually going to be this rectangle right here. So where's my smiley face got to go? On the top of my box. And that means, well, where's the side with the black diagonal on it?
Right there.
It's on the hidden side. Side with diagonal. Now we'll do more of these as we go along. This is just our first example. But one of the things that we're supposed to be working towards is being able to not just go, oh yeah, that's a rectangular prism. I'll write that down in a second. But also be able to kind of orient the sides in space. It's a tough skill. It takes a lot of practice. It takes a lot of time. And it's not easy for everybody. So some people will get it. Some people will take some time. It's all good. Now the name of this figure is what's called a rectangular prism. Rectangular prism. Now a prism is any figure that I can make as a solid by stacking pieces of cardboard with that shape. So when I look at this box, I can see this base down here along the bottom as being a cardboard. Let's use my highlighter for this. This piece right along here on the bottom, I can see as a piece of cardboard that's cut like a rectangle. And I'm going to stack another cardboard rectangle on top of that. So here's another cardboard rectangle, would sit on top of that. And I could keep stacking these in order to get my box, my solid box. That's why this is a rectangular prism. Shoot.
What does that box in the middle say?
Front.
Not that one.
Bottom.
The red?
Yeah, bottom. And that's the bottom of the box. And that's usually how I think about my foldings. I'd like to think of that thing in the middle as the base. I'm going to fold up and around it. And I had a student last hour, fourth hour, who actually did the exact opposite. He pictured this as holding the top of that and pushing everything down and around it, like wrapping it.
That's what I think of.
Yeah, it's whatever works for you. The most important thing here is not so much does your picture look exactly like mine, but do you have the side with the black slash and the smiley face next to each other? And so that's really what we're looking for. So you could just as easily draw this as, okay, do a real quick version here. Let's see, where did this line up to? It lined up here. I think I'm off my dots now, but whatever. And so maybe you put the smiley face over here, and that means this side here has got my black slash on it.
We have to draw it on
And that works just as well. What's up?
we have to draw it on the dots.
No. If you don't want to use the dots, you don't have to use the dots. But the important thing for me is, do I see the slash and the happy face next to each other on your box? That's what I need to see.